the unit 3 regarding the organizing, the chapter organizing. In the previous classes, we have seen something about the departmentation. What do you mean by word departmentation first? And what is the need of departmentation for the organizations, as well as the categories or the functional areas, basing on what functional areas the classification will be done. And all these has been seen in the earlier classes. Now just we will go back for a review of the departmentation, and then we move on to the future further topics of this related chapter. First, we
Good
see the
morning, sir.
word called good morning. Organizing function. What is organizing function? Organizing is refers to an arranging or the structuring of the work to accomplish the organization goals. We have seen it. And it's also a very important managerial function. It's a part of the managerial function. It's a part of planning, organizing, staffing function. We need to make informal arrangements of people, as well as materials, as well as all else management and all these activities in a formal way, in order to make your organization work effectively. And in other words, organizing is also establishing work relationship between employees, as well as in order to achieve the organizational goals. And the concept of departmentation, what is the need of dividing the people? Because a division of work, the word division of work, which is a major principle which enhances the employee productivity as well as organization productivity, we have seen. Then departmentation can be defined as a process by which activities or the functions of an enterprise are grouped homogeneously into different groups, and basing on this, the people, you can also make your departments basing on the administrative departments, or the basing on the specialization of the people belong to one functional area known as people belonging to HR, people belong to marketing, people belong to systems, people belong to production. You can categorize the people and you can make them as a whole department, and that improves the efficiency of the organizations. And the basis of departmentation, that we have seen five basic process. Along with this, we also seen some more process also, but we concentrate on these five areas, these five functional areas were called functional area wise departmentation, product based departmentation, territory based departmentation, and geographical based departmentation, and process based and customer based departmentation. And these are the things which we have concentrated. First we'll shall revise this, and then we go on to the further topics. Departmentation basing on the functional areas. What are the functional areas of management? Basically, we come across the 4 to 5 functional areas, depends on the nature of organization. If you are involving in some production based organizations, manufacturing or production based organizations, you mainly concentrate on the production, as well as distribution, as well as the marketing. And some part of the organizations include finance and HR. And then here the organization has been taken as example, which involves in the production process. Then their manufacturing is a concern as a major function, finance and accounting is as a function, sales and marketing as one more function. Then where we can see the people has been segregated on the requirements of the organization. Based on the requirements of the organization, we have divided the organization, and we are making the things done. Financial vice president, we have appointed vice president for each and every functional areas, and among these, again, sub functions has been classified, work has been classified among the people who are in the organization. And then in this way we can also classify. Otherwise, you can also classify basing on the directly functional areas called HR, finance, marketing, and you can make things also done like that also. That's also way how we can present the things also, basing on the functional areas. And functional areas can be decided only basing on the nature of organization, what you are working for, and nature of organization, what you are running. Departmentation by products. Product based departmentation. If an organization is manufacturing a number of products known as product line, various product lines, involving in various product lines, they are involving in FMCG products, they are involving in durable products, they are involving in other services also, automobiles or electronic goods or any other things also. Then they need to classify their departmentation, by basing on the products. Here an example is given regarding the automobile company, which manufactures three types of vehicles called two-wheeler department, three-wheeler department, four-wheeler department, where again further they can classify themselves into, in the two-wheeler department they can classify, in the three-wheeler department they can classify. Here an example is given regarding three-wheeler department, how they are classified this basing on the requirements for the three-wheeler. Then they have classified it as production, finance, HR, and marketing, and they have done the classification like this. This depends upon the nature of organization. That's why we are using a word called depends upon the nature of organization, because every organization may not be suitable. The same organization structure may not be suitable for each and every organization. Sometimes we need to go for a change. And in order to make the change, whatever the structure, whatever the structural changes we want to make the change, and we can easily identify and you can easily change based on your work purpose or work activities, workflows in the organization. Then we also have a word called differentiation by territory. It means the territory based department is based on the geographical areas. When you are increasing your potentialities, you are increasing your market, you are increasing your potential markets to the large extent. It means you are not restricting to a state, we are not restricting to a district, we are not restricting to one area. Then we need to identify the areas, how we can divide the cluster, how we can divide the cluster of our business, and how we can divide either the zones, either the areas, either the clusters, and how we can divide and how we can make business done. Sometimes zones are the popular word what we are going to see nowadays. And also even when the government divides the areas, then they call it as the zones. Even the railways, when you identify the railways, southern zone, northern zone, east zone and west zone, and the central zone, the same way we can divide based on the directions, north, west, east, south. And within the state, even some districts identified as north, east, and west side, west and south, and we can make the classifications. And in this function, again in this, we can identify some functional areas or functional managers over there in order to spread the activities. Again, in Southeast manager and other one more classification can be done regarding if there is different number of products can be done. Only one product, various functional areas can be identified and various functional managers can be appointed over there. Next, basic on the departmentation called by customers. Category of customers. The number of customers who are going to visit you and the number of customers who are going to serve you, you are serving. The number of customers who are going to get the privileges of services providing by you. Here an example of the bank is being given. A customer may visit the bank either for the deposits, either for advancing, either for getting some loans. Either in loan section, we may give some education loan, personal loan, home loan, construction loan, any other loans also, gold loans, any other things also. And that's why we can classify the customers. We can classify the customers based on the requirements of the customer, because the type of services being provided are very much extent, very higher in nature. So we are dividing. When you go to a cloth store, the first floor will be given for the men's apparel, the second floor will be given for the women's, and the third floor will be given for the kids, and fourth floor will be general and marriage apparels or whatever the things are there. And that will be classified based on the type of customers. We can also we have departmentation. We have arranged departmentation in order to make the customer served very effectively. There, what you have done is that we have identified the customer needs. We have identified the customer needs, and the customer needs has been properly identified and classified, so that the people can easily avail the services. If they want to go to the men's apparels, they can easily go to the directly step into the men's apparels and they can get the products done. Even when you go to the retail store, and also the products will be based on the products also classification one done, as well as the customers, the people who prefer these, they can directly go over there and they can make their business done. And by the process or equipments, either by the process or the equipments also, depends upon the textile industry. An example is given here, either the manual process or the technical process, or in order to finish the process of production, conversion of raw material to a finished product. If you are involving in various steps of process, then also we need to go further either by the process or the equipments. First, here an example is given related to textile company. And textile, when the cotton is taken, and the ginning, spinning, weaving, dyeing and finishing departments will be taken. Not only one department will take up. First they go for the ginning, then go for the spinning, then weaving, dyeing, and then only a product will be finished over there and will be ready to sell in the market. And that's how we can make the classifications based on the process, either based on the equipments also, one equipment to other equipments. See, composing is done by the one person, proofreading is done by the other person, and printing and binding and all these activities will be combined. Then only this finished product will be ready in the market in order to sell and also make your business done. That's why in order to make your business basing on the classification on the process, either the process of production, or if it need to be done on the equipments, different types of equipments. If you are making some machine process, different equipments you need to pass on, and each and every step need to be identified as separate classification, separate department, and you can make your activities done. And by time and numbers, even by time and numbers also we can classify. It means 24 hours in a day, we can classify the 24 hours as 8 hours for one activity, 8 hours for one activity, 8 hours for an activity, or repeatedly involving number of people to classify for 8 hours in a day in a form of shift basis. Shift basis also you can make your activities done. 8 hours for a shift, 8 hours for a shift, 8 hours for a shift in the 3 shifts. The people can run their business. If not, the number of persons. Identify the number of persons, as we can accommodate 100 persons in a shift. We can accommodate 100 people in a shift. We can accommodate 100 people in the second shift. We can accommodate the third shift as 100 people. So that altogether we can get 300 people. We can accommodate 300 people. And the same example what you have given is that in a factory operating for 24 hours, we operate in 3 shifts. One in the morning, the second shift for the day, and third shift for the night. Whereas number of persons, with regard to the number of persons, and the number of persons is an example regarding the army is there, and the squads. The squads are the companies or the battalions and regiments will be divided over there, and they will make their work done. That's why also basing on the identification, basing on the requirements. If you are utilizing the same machinery, but you have the capacity to improvise your production by running the machinery for 24 hours, you can go for the shift basis work. No, if you have only limited equipments, you cannot make it done by 24 hours. Increase the manpower. No, if you have good equipments and also machinery, then you can go for the making the work done in shift basis. If not, you can go for the numbers. Then organization also can depends on this nature, and they can classify basing on their requirements. Then this is a matrix form of structure, where the both the things known as horizontal form of instructions and vertical form of instructions. A person will be integrated at both the forms in the functional areas as well as the departmentation known as projects. See, a person may be placed over here. And under the vice president manufacturing, he need to coordinate with the vice president manufacturing as well as the project manager, because he need to be reported for the multiple persons. And these matrix form of structure, it's a combination of row and column. In form of columns, they need to report to the higher bosses called manufacturing of vice president for manufacturing. In form of rows, they need to responsible for the project manager A. That's why they will be the part of two formal groups. They will be form of two formal groups, and they need to report for the two bosses. And sometimes these may be difficult to people, because when we are reading something about the principles of management, we are reading something about unity of command and unity of direction, that one person, one boss. But when these technical areas, when the technical areas has been improvised, when the people need to perform two or more activities, and at that areas the team leaders has to perform the functional areas. Not only the functional areas, also they need to contact with the supervisors, and also they need to make the work activities done, workflow should be done. And in the structures, in the technological improvements, we need to pass on to the different areas also. That's why these matrix forms of organizations is also made implemented in the modern organizations, because they need to integrate the functional areas with as well as the divisional areas. The functional areas will be this, and the division areas will be this, because they are involving in multiple process. This company is involving in multiple process. That's why they need to be integrated with the both the areas, and the modern organizations are effectively using all these things. Then team-based organizations. The word itself saying that team. Team is a small number of people with complementary skills who are committed to a common purpose and common performance goals and an approach for which they hold themselves, and they are mutually responsible for themselves. And in the team-based organizations, people are empowered to share their teams, empowered to share their managerial prospects. People are empowered to share their managerial responsibility functions, and also they can share their goals, plans, and also actions. What happens if they coordinate themselves, if they work properly, if they work effectively, then organization will be very successful. Also they can reach their whatever the plans effectively done. You can see an identity when the people are committed, we can see a group of people. These people related to the complementary skills, having some unique qualities of everyone possessing the same identification, same identities, so that they are sharing They are come forward for a common purpose, common objective, and they are sharing their responsibilities. They are sharing the responsibilities and holding themselves for a mutual responsible, that whatever the things we are doing and that we face ourselves, we are responsible for performing an activity. And that's a form of organizations what we are seeing nowadays. Because every organization is dividing its work, every organization is dividing its work in the form of the teams. Every activity with regard to the processing, one activity for processing activities, teams will be maintained. For production, one team will be maintained. And for whatever the standards are there, whatever the IT is there, when you see the IT companies, purely they are working on the teams. People used to involve in not only one team, two or more, three teams also. Depends on the projects what they are handling by the companies, and they can classify the things and they can make their business done. And mainly depends upon the need, different types of the teams may be created, different levels of the different purposes, means basing on the different structures. Whatever the structures are there, whatever the needs are there, whatever the needs to be fulfilled for the organization, then organization, if the organization handling two or three projects simultaneously, they need to work on for the two or three teams. If they are working for only one organization and work one project, then they can limit their business activities to only one team. And that's why you can see this, when you see then executive team is there and shared services are there. When they come to the business team, then two or more teams can be formed and they can be integrated. They need to be coordinated, because if they require some technical support, they need to be supported by the technical team. If they need some financial support, then it is be supported by the financial team. If they need some technical from HR support, then they need to coordinate with the HR department team. That's why whatever the teams has been identified, whatever the teams have been identified will be coordinated with the supportive teams also. In order to make your functional areas, in order to make your project done, we need to coordinate the people with the different areas. And that the basic principle what they are going to follow is that the board of directors will coordinate and will form some quality circles. What is this quality circles? The people who are well qualified professional and also has possess some various experience in order to manage or in order to handle the issues, then these people will be formed as a quality circle, and these people will coordinate, will look after, and also will control the organization projects or the organization. And these quality circles will be framed over there basing on the requirements of the organization structure. If it is being either a person may be identified, only one person may be a quality person will be identified over there, or a set of people, the functional manager of finance, the functional manager of HR, the functional manager of marketing can form a quality circle, or basing on the requirements, see, they can form a quality circle like this. And under these people, self-managed teams will be self-managed teams called process teams will be identified. And then some virtual teams, people work from different places, and different places means one company or nation, means you are working on a project, we relate to us organization, us based organization, a person from there and a person from your organization can form a team. A person from some other set of organizations also, if you have sub applied your division, you are divided the work to the sub teams also, to a small organizations also, and that organization member will also be a part of your thing. That's why some virtual teams and work teams are some examples which they form in the organizations. Virtual teams are the teams what you are going to concern nowadays, because MNCs are working for the different countries or different nations, where the people will only contact, the people will no interaction, no physical interactions will be there, only through ICT, known as information communication technologies, either through internet the people use it to communicate, and the people use it to make their work done. And that's a form of organizations what we are going to see in recent days. And a pure example for this, pure real example for this is these virtual organizations. A virtual organization represents, see, whatever the figure is showing itself, see, a person standing over there, a person, and he will be able to get the data from the various places, and he can be a part of, he can get the data, he can get all the information related to the organization or the work groups regarding through the internet technologies, using some internet as a part of the media. The people use it to connect to the information technology with the suppliers. You can see a supplier is there and a customer is there, even the competitor is there, even the partners are there, training partners are there. They can sit over place, and they can gather the data and they can get the data done. And that's how we can also make your organizations done. And The aim of virtual organizations is to gain some access to other firms' competence, to gain flexibility, to gain reduce risk, or to respond rapidly to the market needs. When the information is being shared properly, when there is a need to share the information, and the information is being sharing properly, that will be a great benefit to the organization. If a proper communication, if a proper information is being shared to the organization, if an information is given to, if I give some information regarding the concept, and that conceptual knowledge will helps you to perform very effectively. Then the same way here, what happens is when they integrate the services, when they integrate the services of one person to their partners, either the trading partner will support you, either the supplier will support you, either the customer will support you, either the company's resources will support you, and so that you can enhance, you can get your resources done, and you can make your function areas very effectively done. And that's why purely these organizations depends on purely these organizations depends on the virtual form, and where there is no physical interactions will be done, and there is no centralized buildings and no organization charts, no other things will be there. Only they depends on the form of connectivity, they depends on the connectivity, nature of connectivity, what they are going to do, and they are making their business done. That's why virtual organizations may not have any identifiable physical form, any organization chart, or not any centralized office building. They only represent a pattern of doing business in order to ensure the quick interactions and services. When they get a query, when they get a problem, when they get a query, they directly post in the group or in the mails or through any network based things, so that the people will respond, and people will identify, people will respond towards this query, and will be resolved. Then that's way how we can, they depend purely on the medium of space, they depends on the internet connectivity, and depends on the network ability and network abilities of the companies, and they virtually connect. People will not move anywhere, the people will sit over the places, and they can interact themselves using some internet communication technologies, and they can make their work done. No, even the mobile communications also purely on basing on the sharing some information or sharing some messages, and they are communicating using some technology itself. And that's how the companies known as MNCs, multinational companies, who are allowing the people to to make the activities to work from home activities, they are communicating only through medias, they are communicating only through computer medias and also technologies, and that they are making the work organizations done, and that's a form of virtual organizations. And we also have one more form of organization called structure called learning organization. Learning organization is a form Learning organization is a form that it is a need of today's economy. It's a need of today's economy, because we are in the economy where there is rapid changes are going on every day to day. Whatever the changes we are seeing, and all these changes are being done even every minute, every instance, every second also. There might be any change, we need to adopt the change. Unless and until there is a need to adopt the change, the organizations will not sustain for a long period of time. That's why. And organizations need to consistently learn and consistently need to adopt the changes. Unless if they adopt the changes, unless they concentrate on the changes, the organizations will not run for a longer period of time. Because when a computer was introduced, when the computer was introduced as a basic requirement in the organizations, mechanization of the work, computerization of work, then the people who are working over there traditionally from the various generations or various years, from long period of tenure, they are switched over from a typewriter to a computer. Then storing of the data from a manual process by using the books to the inputting the data through the keyboards to some excels or the databases, or what are the things are there, what are the word documents, or what are the processing softwares are there. Then people need to identify the needs, and the people need to cope up with the changes, whatever the changes are required, they need to cope up with the changes. And presently in our competitive environment, only organizations which have ability to learn about the new things, and they create a creative organizations, and they can codify, means they need to make the changes of their organization, and they need to utilize the technologies. Unless the organizations cannot sustain. That's why. And organizations which are able to see, follow up all these five essential organizations, they follow up all these five things, who encourages the personal mastery, means who encourages the creativity of an individual, who asks for the suggestions of the people how to improvise the services, who shares the vision and also ask for the suggestions, and also who thinks about the improvisation of the systems. It means that computerization, technology, and whatever the needs are there, then technology and all these things, and how to improve, and all these things need to be considered. Then a mental models means that whatever the models which improvises the performance of the people, performance of the individuals need to be identified, and then go for the team learning. It means make the organization form of, divide the organization form of teams, so that the people can be shared, the people will be allowed to share their opinions, people will be able to share their work, so that the people can learn something and then encourage themselves. That improves the efficiency of the people as well as efficiency of the organizations. That's why organizations need to classify their work activities in the form of teams, so that the people will be able to learn something new from their people, only from their teammates. And that's also benefits the organization and also benefits their individual, improves their individual potentialities or capabilities. And what is the need of these learning organizations? Because only the organizations can survive only because of the knowledge based economy, and it can survive only tomorrow's based knowledge based economy. They need to cope up with the whatever the technological changes are there. Unless they tend with the technological changes, they cannot manage with the intense global competition. Then it can cope with the tomorrow's rapid technological change. Whatever the technological change is there, then the people need to adopt the technological change. If the people, yesterday we have seen that the people who have done with the presentations, they are not using even the laptops also, they have used only their devices, their mobile phones as the presentation devices, and they have presented, they have prepared ppts and they have presented the things. And that's a form of technology, that's a form of things what they adopt, that's a form of things they have adopted, and that's a form of technological change. The people need not to be wait for the systems, that need not to be wait for the things. They have a device that can that is capable of doing the things done, and they have utilized the devices and they have changed, they have made some changes, they have shown these changes, and the same can be seen in the videos also. Whoever shared the ppts are effectively shown, and whoever not shared even the photograph or the picture, and that you can see the resemble the changes over there. And it can handle, the learning organizations can only handle the tomorrow's demanding and also fragmented markets. The markets are very clustered, very unstructured. We cannot say that only our product is being utilized, our product can be sold only in the Warangal region or Hanamkonda or Kajipet region. We can create the demand for the products by implementing some electronic forms of business, by shifting your business from the traditional to electronic business. You can share your products, you can share your products to the made available, readily made available to the different areas of people, so that the people can also buy from the various sources. And that's also can increase your untapped markets. Means you cannot spread on your traditional form of business to the Hanamkonda, Kajipet, Vijayawada, and all these states or all these districts. But when you go on to the electronic forms of business into your business, means introducing some online shopping, introducing some online business processing, online taking apart of orders online, and introducing e-business in your business, means shifting from traditional business process to the electronics forms of business. Then that gives you some demand for your products. And also you can go for the untapped markets. You cannot go for traditional forms. If you are establishing a retail store, you can maintain only customers within the region. But you are maintaining an electronic store where you can take your orders through online and you can deliver the products through online. And that's how we can also get untapped markets also. Means we can spread on to the various markets where we can get the new customers also. And it can build a people based working system in the organization, because we involve the people everywhere. We are asking the people to go for giving their suggestions, and we are asking the creativity of the people, we are using the creativity of people, and we are making all our activities done with related to the people. That's why when you are involving the people, when you're involving the people as a people forms your organization. And that's people based work systems will encourage the people in order to make the things done very effectively. And that's why learning organizations need to be implemented everywhere, and every organization need to adopt these 5 principles known as personal mastery, adopting of shared vision, systems thinking, and mental models, and also learning. Team learning has to be adopted by every organization in order to make them as a identify them itself as a learning organization. People need to increase their potentialities, and these potentialities should be useful for the organization. That's why they should be able to know about the abilities, whether the people able to learn something, and they can create some new things for the organization, and that how they can modify or codify and how they can utilize the technology in a faster ways in order to sustain from the competitors. And that's way, and every organization need to be classify their things also. And boundaryless organization. A boundaryless organization is also a form of organization form which is introduced as a form of the concept in the vision statement of General Electric Limited. And this removes the horizontal, vertical, and external barriers. The people can extend, the organization can extend its services through any part of the world globally. Whatever the things are there, the people can extend their services throughout the global services can be done, and there is no such entry barriers or so such any barriers that they should go only vertically, they should go for the only horizontally, so that the employees, managers, customers, and suppliers can work together and share ideas and identify the best course of action for the all the purposes. The basic, because they want to spread on to business, they want to spread on their business, there is no such restriction that only zonal wise, only one area wise or one cluster wise. They want to expand their areas, they want to expand their customer range throughout the different parts of the world. Then that's why that's a form of initiation where they can take up. And this purpose of this initiation was to remove the barriers between the various departments, as well as between the domestic and international operations. Whatever the domestic operations, internal trades or internal import or export trades, and whatever the traditional activities are there, then in order to evaluate all these things also, we are doing. To reward the people in this model, bonuses were rewarded to those who are not only generated the new areas but also shared with others. If they're asking the people to give their shares, they give to share their opinions towards the people, opinions towards the things, and whoever effectively involves in the activities of the organizations, whoever shares the ideas, whoever share the opinions in order to improvise the business. We are not restricting the people, we are not restricting the area of people, or we are not restricting only the members of the organization can suggest. We are allowing the customers, we are allowing the suppliers, we are allowing all the people in order to suggest towards the betterment of the organization. And whoever shares the ideas will also be getting benefited through the rewards or the bonuses what the company is going to give to you. And also not only benefiting, and also will also share towards the benefiting of the organization. And that's a form of organizations. And these three forms of organization called virtual organizations, and the learning organizations, as well as the boundary organizations, or the modern form of organizations, what we are going to see in the general in regarding the things. And that's what we are going to see. The general traditional form of organizations will be the functional, the process, the technology, and whatever the equipments are there, what are the process are there, time and numbers are the traditional form of organization structures. But coming to these three, known as the virtual organizations, as well as the learning organizations, and the boundaryless organizations, are the forms of business organizations, or the forms of departmentations, what we are going to see here as a part of modern form of organizations.